This is the new thing everyone is going crazy about in the Pokemon community. No, not the joke, but wait, there's a new Juniper card in the Pokemon TCG? That's pretty crazy. That's out of place. Where did it come from? Well, that is what this video is going to be about, because now the Gen 5 remake discussion has been ignited. More about that later, I guess, but let's find out what's going on with this Juniper card, because there's actually multiple things that are happening here. The official Pokemon page clarifies that from now on, there are cards with the same name, but different characters. Although they are different characters, the rule prevents carrying more than 4 cards with the same name in the deck, and we're seeing this with Professor's Research. That instead of having Professor Sycamore, Professor Kukui, all the different Professor names, now it's Professor's Research and then that Professor. So now we have Professor's Research Magnolia, and then we're going to have Professor's Research for Juniper, but at this time, the card is Japanese only, and it's going to be in a VMAX Blastoise and Venusaur deck. So there's going to be some new starter decks coming out, and they're introducing old characters in these decks. So alongside Juniper, we also have Lysander, and that's another part of why we're getting a lot of cleanup here. We have Boss's Orders, but that's the same thing as Lysander. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with one of his or her active Pokemon, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, etc. And then if anyone's had any experience going back to like the base set with Pokemon TCG, the Professor cards are discard your hand, draw 7 cards. So we're all familiar with that, but yeah, there's actually a little bit more depth for what's going on here with the TCG, but it is curious that we have some Generation 5 being splashed in. Now, what does this mean for a new Generation 5 remake? Nothing, because as I just showed, this is more about the TCG than some kind of Generation 5 remake. Yes, people believe that is going to be a thing, or even some kind of Pokemon game remaster. Oh man, they're bringing back Juniper, and they're probably going to be doing some like other previous generation things with the 25th anniversary, so this shows like a little hint. This is a leak that we're going to see about a Pokemon remaster or Generation 5 remakes or something. No, it's just Pokemon TCG cleanup, and even then, we're bringing back some of these older cards or like older characters from generations and stuff. Lysander's kind of out of place. If there was to be a remaster, it would probably end at Generation 5 because Generation 6 is the new era of 3D Pokemon games and has a lot more accessibility on the 3DS than the DS and earlier generations. And even then, DS still works with the 3DS, so there isn't too much of a gap there, unlike Game Boy and Game Boy Advance generations. So the remaster thing is going to get weird. We have no idea how Pokemon is going to handle that. But if you just see like Juniper out of place, nah, there's no secret Generation 5 set. It's just for the starter deck. Maybe there'll be some newer sets that are focusing on Generation 5, but that goes back to the nothing because we've seen this over the last couple of years. That when a TCG set comes out, sometimes they just focus on an entire reason, and it doesn't mean anything. Because we can go back to some really interesting times. February 2nd, 2018. We don't know Pokemon Let's Go exists. We're still waiting for that transition from Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon on the 3DS into the Nintendo Switch. What is the first Nintendo Switch era game going to be? Well, it's way too early to go into a new generation. Are we going to just pop out, Sinnoh Remakes, Generation 4 just like that on Nintendo Switch? Didn't happen, even though the immediate set before the announcement. Because we have, December 8, 2017, February 2nd, 2018. That's the Japanese and English set release for a Sinnoh-based region that is bringing back, Pokemon like Torterra. So we have Generation 4 starter Pokemon. We have Magnezone. We have Cynthia. We have major players when it comes to Generation 4, but didn't mean anything. So we have the best case for a pre-Sinnoh remake tease, and it didn't go anywhere. We've also seen a lot of other Generation 4 teases, because now the Pokemon Company, Nintendo, they are just screwing with us when it comes to any kind of remake. Like the Pokemon Company, the official Pokemon statement was Sinnoh confirmed. But it wasn't about the games, and then there's also been a lot of other Generation 4 things happening in the anime, in the TCG, with Junichi Masuda and his trolling, even going into the video game. So it's like, alright, before Pokemon Sword and Shield, we have Generation 4 teases inside of Pokemon Let's Go. Nope, that didn't mean anything. So yeah, the TCG is not really too much of a barometer, because this would have been like it. This would have been the biggest case on top of some of the other things that we had, and it even goes into other sets. It's not just like, oh, Sinnoh randomly popped up later that year, or a couple months later, we had Forbidden Light, which focuses on Kalos. This is just how the Pokemon Company is handling having over 900 characters to represent every 3 to 4 years. It gets pretty crazy, but also makes a lot of sense. Like, oh, you have a set that's going to focus on a different region, you can also sprinkle some of the other Pokemon in other sets and still kind of make it work and stuff. It's just kind of a mess at this point, but seems like it's holding the TCG together really well. So yeah, we could expect a Generation 5 set to come out that might line up with something. We already missed our Sinnoh set, so I don't really think that's going to change anything, and also doesn't mean like, oh, we're going to skip Generation 4 remakes, because that's what the Pokemon Company wants us to think. The Pokemon Company is always trying to surprise us, so it'll go straight to Unova, but nah, there's nothing to suggest that even for a 25th anniversary. Like, the Master Collection is going to be the best bet we see Unova, but even then, that's kind of like a far shot. Really, Generation 4 Sinnoh Remakes, that's kind of the ultimate fan service, and it's also due at this point. The second best, or like the second most likely thing after that, would be Generation 2 Let's Go. I'm still holding out for Let's Go Sinnoh as a possibility, which is still way more likely than skipping Generation 4 into a Generation 5 remake. I don't understand what it is about Unova fans, but they're crazy, and I've actually seen a considerable amount of people actually say that this is something they are legitimately expecting. And that's why this whole Juniper thing is kind of blown up a little, because they're waiting for their thing that's like, all right, everyone's thinking Sinnoh, and the Pokemon Company's they're gonna pull a fast one. Where's that Generation 5 hint? There it is! Nah, it's actually pretty standard stuff and doesn't have anything extra special about it. So there we go, guys. That is currently what's going on with like the TCG kind of tying things together. You know, we had some earlier trademarks we talked about, and we were like, hey, what does the set mean for the future? How's it all going to come together? We got the Urshifu set. That means we're going to see, you know, some kind of other set for the Crown Tundra coming out at some point. Now, we are seeing some Crown Tundra Pokemon being splashed in with the Galarian Slowking, but that makes a lot of sense. We're going to be like doing the Galarian Slowpoke, Slowbro, Slowking. Might as well have them all in the same set. We're still like a couple of months offset from anything pretty crazy and pretty spicy, and then when you kind of factor that into a new Pokemon game, you know, main series game like a Sinnoh Remake, then going into the Crown Tundra set that has Calyrex in it, whatever they're doing with Glastrier, Spectrier, etc., you just kind of keep like adding time on set. It's like, all right, things do make sense. Nothing like super big, nothing super spicy going on in that time, but at this point, we just gotta wait for the 25th anniversary. Really, that's what everything is kind of meaning right now. It's like, hey, things are cool, but we're still like a half year offset from actually anything major, and in that time, we're going to see a 25th anniversary February. So there we go. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.